Hello. This is a podcast about gossip, dirty laundry, chitter-chatter and backfence prittle-prattle. In each episode, Joe Wilkinson, David, Earl and Poppy the postwoman invite you lot, the lovely listeners, to send in any juicy gossip you might have heard over the years. At the end of each episode, they will choose their favorite bit of gossip and help spread it around the world. So, without further ado, welcome to
Grandmother's Mental.
No.
Gyrating Mistress.
No.
Guildford Market.
No. Gossipmongers. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Gossipmongers. Fantastic. Here we go then. Cool stuff. Cool stuff.
Gossip number one.
It's from Nick. Mm-hmm. I have some gossip from the area about a charlatan who I think you'd all like. There was a bloke who sold fruit and veg at the market who people locally called Shippo. No idea why he had that nickname. He liked to frequent the pubs after his shift. When he was short on cash for a pint, he'd go up to people in the pub and say, "I can hold a stack of 10p's up my arsehole for a minute. If you can provide the change and let me keep it, I will perform the trick."
How many? It's just a stack.
Hold on a minute. Yeah, actually, he said it was a stack of 10p's.
Okay.
He could hold up his arsehole for a minute. I thought this was unsubstantiated gossip for a long time, until I witnessed it myself in the pub one Sunday evening. He offered to do the trick. It's called the trick.
Is that what it's called? The trick?
The trick. He offered to do the trick in front of me and my mates. The pub landlord said, "If you're going to do it, Shippo, don't do it by the bar. Go to the Skittles table." Yeah. So me and my mate got 10 pence pieces and stacked them high on a bar stool by the Skittles table. And Shippo then got naked and sat on the stack of coins. And once they were up his Harris, he walked around the pub for a minute.
What's that?
The part of the trick, David.
He does it
to
for a
keep
minute.
Doing there for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, but why?
Why the whole thing?
No, just why only for a minute?
What would you want?
Maybe it got-
Fortnight.
Maybe it got... They'd fall out eventually, I think. I don't really know.
Fortnight.
Come back from your holidays, it's still up there.
He's very sure that it's a minute. It's annoying me.
Probably count it down, don't they? 60.
Yeah.
After the minute was up, he unclenches and the 10p's drop to the floor.
Oh, so he has to tense, right?
Oh, it's
then.
not
Yeah.
in his arsehole.
Yes,
Is it
in
just
his
in his...
Yeah, they're all
Oh,
up
right.
the arsehole.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then
he-
but he has to tense, so it turns out he has to tense to keep him up there. So
Right.
he earns it.
He earns the praise.
They'd stay up anyway, wouldn't they? I
Don't
think.
know, Poppy.
I
That's
can
where
try
we
it.
differ. You're not fazed by this at all, are you, Poppy?
I think it seems quite easy.
Okay, I think we know how we're ending this podcast. So cocky. This is the trick.
Yeah.
I'm not
knock
impressed
the
really.
trick. I think it's quite easy.
It would be. Don't you reckon?
No, I'm not putting the quiz worth.
Is it dangerous?
It's
Definitely
like
dangerous. It's up
Yeah.
your arse. It's metal up your arse. Isn't it dangerous? Of course it's fucking.
only if one gets lost.
Not
What
quite
about if 9 get lost?
Just get one.
Put them out at 60p there. 40. Lodged.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Quite. That's why we're here.
You don't seem that bothered. Doing it for us now.
Yes, let's just see what happens.
Yeah. After the minute was up, he unclenches and the 10p's drop to the floor, making the clanging sound like someone winning the jackpot on a fruit machine. He then picks up the change, and along with the other change he had, he buys a pint in the pub. I never drank in the pub again, scared that the change I would get had been up his arsehole.
That's fair, to be fair.
Also, I've never bought fruit and veg from him in the market for the same reason. There you go.
Good
Great.
stuff.
Yeah.
Shippo and the Bum Trick. That sounds like a kid's book, doesn't it? Like
Shippo and the bum
Shippo
trick.
and the Bum Trick. Mum, can you read that, Mum?
That famous five.
Shippo and the Bum Trick.
Bigger than Harry Potter.
Shippo and the Bum Trick. Let me say that again if you don't mind. Shippo and the Bum Trick. Basically some bloke who would stuff cash up his rectum. Not a lot more than that, to be fair. Thank you for being you, Shippo. And thank you for the trick involving your bum. Shippo and the Bum Trick. Shippo and the Bum Trick. Shippo. Shippo. Shippo and the Bum Trick. Gossip number 2.
Yeah. Okay, this is from David Nottingham. I don't know if that's David in Nottingham or it's called David Nottingham.
Confused herself already.
Worried. I'm worrying about it. Loved the podcast, and I thought I'd tell you about some bollocks that got told to me a year ago, which was admittedly intriguing. Put loads of commas in this. No
Commas?
reason. Yeah.
Commas. Nothing wrong with loads of commas.
When I was a student in the late 90s, I was working on a site in Peterborough. One of the engineers I was working with told me about some of his sexual exploits. Oh. He claimed he would place a quantity of talcum powder onto his stomach and then spaff his load onto his quite considerable gut. He would then mix up the ingredients and roll the love dough up in a ball.
I'm out. I'm out.
So he'd roll it up into a ball and then put it in the bin.
And put it in the bin. What a waste of everyone's time. Fucking hell.
What a swat.
Kills 20 minutes, doesn't it, you Burke?
It seems quite a neat way to deal with the fallout of an orgasm, but I've never sought to try it myself, especially now talcum powder has a negative health impact.
Is it?
Cancer.
Is it?
I think so.
Shit. Could you get wanker's lung? Question mark.
Wanker's lung.
He also claimed that he could clamp his mouth around his wife's arsehole.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Sort of change your gear as well, isn't it?
Clamp.
Around it.
Like a crocodile.
Does it stick out or?
Sticky out arsehole. Not a belly button. Do you have an outie or an innie? My wife's got an outie. Quite rare. Then I've like clamping my gob round it.
I'll say again. He also
Say again. Stop banging your head on the desk, David.
He also claimed that he would clamp his mouth around his wife's arsehole when she farted.
Oh, fuck off.
To catch the outburst.
Oh, fucking hell.
Stressing everyone out.
Fine. It's not your life.
God, I can't believe you
It's not
missed
your
that
life.
out the first time you read it.
That little vital bit of information.
Christ. Oh.
I so prefer it when you read them, Poppy.
He likes it.
Oh, God.
He proudly said that it was fizzy and, needless to say, tangy.
This is horrible.
It's fine.
Really-
It's fine.
It's really sick.
For the listener
sick
at
and
home,
juicy.
David can't stop rubbing his eyes.
Got a tangy eye.
Backdraft.
Coincidentally, at the time, Natalie Imbruglia's Big and the Steak was a big hit, and we all know what she was singing about when she sang the immortal line, "Think of all the bubbles of love we've made." What is he saying?
Why,
Okay.
I do not know that song
No, I don't.
or that line.
Okay.
So the reference
Okay.
is utterly wasted.
The immortal lines.
That famous B-side of Natalie Imbruglia. Fucking hell, mate.
Some repulsive little maggot of a man who enjoys catching his wife's farts in his mouth. That's it. That's the end. We've hit an all-time low. 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 Gossip number 3.
This is from Ben. This juicy little bit of gossip started in the 80s, continued into the 90s, and may well continue on into the future. Here's hoping. My older brother, my sister for the 6th form, and myself all attended the same middle-of-the-road Surrey public boarding school. One day, one of the boys, Boy A, went round to his mate's house, and while he was there, he discovered a videotape upon which had been recorded the saucy antics of his friend's parents. From what I've heard, it included the father, we'll call him Mr. Smith, instructing Mrs. Smith to get your nylons off. Before walking into view sporting a fine pair of leather grundies with a zip. Then they got butt naked and started to fuck.
Get to the point.
Boy A did whatever any self-respecting, God-fearing friend would do in the same situation and took it upon himself to steal the aforementioned videotape, take it into school and show it to everyone in his house for a week or so, and then distribute it to all of the other houses in the school to enjoy. That could have been that, except that one day, at some point afterwards, it turned out not to be. A different boy had been waiting at the train station in his school uniform when a car pulled up. The window rolled down and a lady offered to give him a lift up to school as her son went there too. They chatted a bit on the journey. It became clear she was none other than Mrs. Smith. The boy may have said something about her nylons or about her husband's grundies. We'll probably never know what, but suffice it to say she knew exactly what he was going on about. The boy got deposited at school and Mrs. Smith went on her way. The next day, Smith Jr. was nowhere to be seen, and in fact he never again returned to that school. But there were rumours that his parents did not take to it very well. The story went down in school folklore to be repeated by various gossipmongers over the year. That could have been that. Except that one day, at some point afterwards, it turned out not to be. One such gossipmonger decided it was a good idea to dust off the old Smith story to a dinner party of friends, strangers and acquaintances. That gossipmonger was my sister. The story went down extremely well and everyone had a great laugh at the Smiths' expense. Or so my sister thought. Soon after the meal had finished, however, one of the slightly older couples that had been in attendance made a hasty exit.
Oh my God.
Upon some very light detective work, it became apparent that their son had once attended the very same school that we had, and that they were Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And fuck me, if my sister hadn't just told the Smith story to the very stars of the 80s amateur fuck tape.
Oh, amazing.
That could have been that. Except that one day, at some point afterwards, it turned out not to be. You guys decided to start a gossip gang. And decided that the Smith story would be perfect for it.
If he's got another level after this, then I'm and that.
I like to think that the Smiths have put all this behind them for the umpteenth time and have moved on with their lives. However, a tiny evil piece of me can't help but hope that they'll be walking down the road in the very near future, only to hear Poppy yelling their story out of the window for the whole world to hear just one last time.
Oh, superb.
Love the
beautiful.
podcast. Brilliant, Ben.
Well done.
Wow.
Little did the Smiths know, when they decided to film themselves fucking each other, that their dirty, sexy evening together would live on and on. And on and on. And on and on. And be told by generations for thousands and thousands of years. Congratulations, the Smiths. Leather underpants with a zip. Sexy fucking leather underpants with a zip. Gossip number 4.
Hello all. I've been umming and ahhing about sending you this gossip as it involves my mum.
I don't think you should have sent it in, to be honest.
So for the sake of anonymity, let's call her Keith.
I like you already.
Keith used to grow quite a lot of weed in her garden.
Auntie Keith.
Funnily enough, though, this wasn't the strangest thing about Keith. She was also a witch.
Ooh.
Not flying monkeys, more pentagrams and drugs. It was fucking mental as a teenager having to explain this to your friends' parents. Anyway, sometimes me, Keith, and and some of her friends and their kids would go to these weird fucking camps in Wiltshire and Devon. Us teenagers, brackets or Jews, as we're hatefully called, would spend most of our time trying to drink, get high and have sex with someone we didn't think had an STD. We'd also spend 2 weeks watching our parents try to connect with nature, which looks suspiciously to us like a nervous breakdown.
I can imagine it so well.
Oh, God.
I can't. I haven't lived in that world.
These camps were run by fascists. You were not allowed alcohol or meat on some of them, so we had to literally hide it by cutting a secret compartment into my friend's old Morris Minor and hoping the Stasi at the gate didn't rumble us.
Awful way to spend your holiday.
No meat.
Someone was so desperate for a lovely few slices of bacon that they strapped them to the inside of the car's engine.
I don't understand this at all.
Unfortunately, it caught fire, which only made matters worse as the scent of the frying bacon wafted over the entire camp. Anyway, I digress. The rumour involved Keith and a few of her mates who decided on the last night of the camp to have a little bit of acid. I was not present as I had to leave early to get back for the start of school. Anyway.
He's school age.
Anyway, one of the guys with them completely underestimated the strength of the acid and downed a large portion of it. Everyone thought he was going to die. He didn't. However, at 3 a.m. on a calm and chilly night, let's call him Rod felt the full force of an acid trip gone terribly wrong. At first, it started with a howl. And then it progressed with an ominous chant of, I am God, I am God, I am God, starting slowly and rhythmically, but quickly progressing to a cacophonous roar. Everyone woke up and made their way out their tents to try to make out what was happening. There were always a lot of weird fuckers, so you were never sure what was going to happen next. In this case, Rod happened next. He burst forth from...
Stressing me out.
It's what's stressing you out. Yeah. You don't look stressed. Feet on the...
Look like you're on a chaise longue.
My back's hurting.
Fucking hell. Hate to see you relaxed.
Rod burst forth from Keith's bender, brackets a type of hippie tent, and spread his arms wide, shouting, I am God, I am God, I am God, I am God. He was absolutely stark bollock naked, hand around the base of his massive penis, and whirling it around like a fleshy propeller.
I am God.
I have this particular detail from 3 eyewitness accounts. He managed to evade all attempts of capture by the hippie Stasi, shitting himself in the process and ran for his freedom out of the field into the darkness of the night.
I am God.
Jesus Christ.
People said that they could still hear him screaming for hours afterwards.
I am God.
Others said that he'd managed to make it all the way to Swindon. All I know is that when I next saw Rod, I could see by the look in his eyes that he was a changed man. It was as if he really had found God. I'm just thankful that he did not have sex with Keith.
Bring Keith.
On a side note, when Keith got home, she found all her weed plants had been ripped up by a family friend because he thought she was going to get raided by the armed police. Turns out they were just there to get our next-door neighbour's boy for GBH. But that's another story. Cheers, guys. Paolo.
Oh. Amazing.
Rod, the friend of the wannabe hippie, Keith, Paolo's mum, who took a fuckload of acid one night and decided to run around a field in Wiltshire and turn his cock and balls into a fucking helicopter. Am I making any sense here? Let me try again. Paolo's mum, Keith, her mate, Rod, whizzed his fucking plonker around and around, exclaiming to one and all that he was the supreme being. Now, am I making any sense? No. Oh, fuck it. Gossip number 5. Celebrity. Richard Osman.
Hello guys, Richard here. I hope all is well. Listen, I just wanted to pass something on. Listen, I didn't see it, but I heard it. Martin saw it for sure. I think it was in the Wheat Sheaf, but it might have been the Bent Arm, so forgive me. But listen, this is what happened. Gary Dodds, who, listen, you may not know, apparently managed to fit 14 50-pence pieces under his foreskin. Started with a few, it got out of hand, there was a whip round, ended up with 14 tucked under there. That is what I'm hearing. As I say, listen, I know someone who saw it for real. Worth remembering as well that this would have been 86, 87, and the 50p was even bigger back then. Listen, just telling you what I heard. Cheers, guys.
The ID Mobile Black Friday event is now on. Save up to £339 on the latest smartphones, including the awesome Samsung Galaxy S10e. That's £339 you can spend on other stuff, like 13,560 Brussels sprouts this Christmas. Grab a great deal today in the ID Mobile Black Friday event at idmobile.co.uk. Offers end 2nd of December while stocks last and subject to change. T's and C's apply. See website for details.
This is Acast Recommends. Every week we pick one of our favourite shows, and this is one we think you're going to love.
When is walking into a bank not just walking into a bank?
Finally, 4:45. I gotta rob this bank.
The Score, Season 1, The Bank Robber Diaries, gets you into the mind of one of California's most prolific bank robbers.
I would just terrify these people. Not only would they give me the cash, they would give me their terror. It made me feel strong.
Turns out robbing a bank takes a lot more than just a plan or a gun. The Score, The Bank Robber Diaries, out now.
Acast is home to the biggest podcasts from the UK and around the world. Subscribe to this show and hundreds more now via Acast or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you have any juicy gossip and you would like to send it in to us, then please email it over to gossipmongers@yahoo.com. All names will be changed to protect the innocent. We look forward to hearing from you.
Gossip number 6.
This is from Stu. Hello, it's true this. Growing up on a council estate in Bolton in the 1980s could be rather grim. Me and my mates didn't have a pot to piss in, so aside from searching the local undergrowth and bus stops for discarded jazz periodicals left by the parish perverts, there wasn't much in the way of entertainment. One day we found a grumble mag dedicated entirely to ladies with colossal busters pouring gravy all over themselves, which our mate Lee insisted on keeping. He fucking loved gravy. Anyway, as was probably common in the late 80s on the bleak estates of England, there was a Mad Mary, an infamous-looking character best known for flashing her wrinkled pasty at the local lads.
Pasty.
I know what he means.
It was whispered amongst the adolescent boys that Mad Mary would let you bum her for a can of special brew, a small gift, and a lock of your hair.
All those things.
Apparently, she kept a small pair of scissors by her bed and would take a chunk of hair as the young lad was pumping away.
She'd lean behind her. That takes some doing.
Everyone knew Mad Mary lived in a shabby little house on the edge of the estate. One day, a couple of us spotted our mate Lee scurrying with some purpose in the direction of her house. A closer look revealed that he had a can of special brew clutched in one hand, and he had neatly combed his normally scruffy hair. We followed him discreetly, and in a state of considerable excitement to discover that he was indeed paying Mad Mary a visit. From our hiding point behind a nearby fence, we watched spellbound as he knocked on the door, feet shuffling nervously as he waited for it to open. It opened, and there stood Mad Mary, who clearly asked what Lee wanted. After a brief exchange, her demeanour changed, and she started to chase Lee down her path and out onto the street.
God.
As he ran, a can of special brew dropped to the floor and rolled into the gutter, a stream of expletives spewing from the wrinkled lips of Mad Mary, calling him a pervert and a fucking weirdo. At this point, a second object fell from his coat pocket. It was a small red tub of Bisto gravy granules.
The gift.
Mary ran out of steam and started walking back to her house, and we watched as Lee ran back towards his house. A several quid pourer, full balls, but a beautifully untouched head of hair.
So the gravy granules he wanted to mix and pour onto Grotty Maggie's food.
Oh, yeah.
I might know what that book's called.
What book?
Really?
The with busty women in.
Oh, really?
Is that real? With
Because
gravy?
my friend had a hardback version of it. It was called Girls in Sauce.
That's amazing.
Well, there you go.
Pouring
And you
gravy
could get it in a
over.
hardback copy because he had it. And how do I know? Because his girlfriend caught it, found it in the cupboard. And went, what's this? And he went, "That's my Girls in Sauce book."
Sauce.
Girls in Sauce.
That's amazing.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so I know that's fact.
Pour that gravy over my tits, baby. Yay. You know you fucking want to. Pour that gravy over my tits. Actually, do you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to in the slightest. I want to pour the gravy over the lamb I've just cooked and eat my dinner like a normal person. You fucking deranged old bint. Besto. Besto. Pour the gravy over my tits, baby. Besto.
Joe, Poppy and David will now choose their favourite rumour.
Right, so I'm going to read out the top 5 rumours of this week, and we're each going to write down our favourite and then reveal it to...
Each other at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, number 1 is Shippo and the Bum Trick.
Jesus, for God's sake.
Shippo and the Bum Trick.
I
Such
remember
a
enjoying
title.
Shippo and the Bum Trick.
Yeah.
Number
10p,
2 is the Acid Hippies.
Yeah. Yep.
Number 3 is the Smiths and the Ongoing Gossip.
That is good, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Mad Mary and the Gravy Granules.
You sound quite Radio 4 when you did that. God, I'm between two.
I am as well, yeah. I'm just going to put...
Yeah, no, I've got mine. When you've done yours, I'll write mine down. Are we keeping this gap in while
This
we
is
write?
wonderful. I love this part of the show now.
But are we keeping the silence in where we think about it?
Yeah.
building
This is
tension,
lovely.
isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, ready. Okay, so how are we going to do it?
After 3?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. The Smiths! Wow!
It doesn't matter if it was only 2, but 3 felt good.
Wow!
No hesitation.
Yeah. The Smiths.
Oh.
Right, Poppy, you've got to open up the window
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
come on.
and tell the whole world the
David,
gossip.
how many are you expecting at the top of this?
I'm going to try to make
Definitely one
make that
solid
not
one.
Well, we've had one already. As soon as you said it was her turn to open the... Right, so open the window then.
Okay.
Okay.
Having a proper think.
I know.
Go on, chuck an Ermin.
Here we go.
Chuck an Ermin, just calm yourself down. Is there a crowd out?
There's a crowd, yeah.
Oh, because that was making you nervous.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's really
Do you know what? I
way
can't. I can't start a sentence without it.
David will edit out the N. 3, there was 3.
Yeah.
The Smiths. Oh, hold on a minute. Oh. I've got
Great.
mind blank.
This
all
is
right.
great podcasting. I can feel us slipping down the charts.
The Smiths and the Ongoing Gossip.
I'm pouring with sweat. It's so hard to not say that. Someone found a tape of the Smiths. The man
Not the
was
band.
like, take your nylons off.
What were his pants made
Just want to
of?
apologise to all the listeners.
You've probably switched off now, but if you haven't, you've fallen asleep. Wake up.
Leather pants. And boy A watched it, bring it to school,
Not
spread it
using
round
whole
school,
sentences anymore.
spread it round school, and everyone knew about it.
Has the crowd dispersed, Poppy?
Some have left, yeah. Loads of people saw it, and then the guy, I don't know, a woman picked the guy up at one of the kids up.
Not just any woman.
Mrs. Smith
Yep.
picked the kid up.
What did he do?
He said about the nylon.
Yeah.
Nylon.
And then the following
Said
day,
about
who?
I can just hear the buzz of the microphone.
That's because there's silence.
Dead
And
air.
so who didn't turn up the following day after that? Do you remember? Who didn't turn up? Was it boy A?
Oh, the boy that spread the gossip round the school, which was their son.
Yeah,
And then at a dinner party, the sister, the author's sister. Do you know what? Just two.
Yeah, just say you don't know.
Just two old people had sex on a tape.
Yeah.
Does feel.
No, just close the window.
No, does feel quite apt that story ended. It didn't get spread anymore after all the layers it
I
gone
feel
through.
really guilty.
Yeah, that's all right. You're tired, aren't you? You didn't sleep well last night.
Well, she slept through till about 10:30, so she should be all right. I think that's a power finish to the.
Yeah.
I feel awful.
Do you?
Yeah.
Tired.
Tired, but sad about the Smiths rumour.
Oh,
Hasn't
right.
gone on to-
I'm really feeling guilty.
I think it's a
A little
perfect way
bit.
to end the Smiths'
Yeah.
journey.
Just
They're probably like, oh, thank God it stopped there.
Yeah.
Probably still filming each other.
I said the main bit, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really tired.
Okay.
On that bombshell.
Yeah. Should we say goodbye?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for sending in your
Yeah,
rumours.
thanks, everyone.
Thank
See you on the next one.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Remember, if you have any juicy gossip, then you know where to send it. Gossipmongers@yahoo.com. Until the next time, goodbye.
Gossipmongers Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast and leave a nice comment.